Oh, recording in progress. We like the sound of that. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Serenity Wins. Oh, look at me. I'm an alien spaceship and I like to listen to the podcast. All right, here we are. Love the low budget effects of this podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Serenity Wins, and I'm your host, and I'm learning to timer app, and I'm learning to whoa, what the heck is that? Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm learning to do things, recording settings. All right, that's more like what I wanted to do. Show participants include timestamp. I don't need to include timestamp. I'm learning how to show video screen. Oh, man, what am I want to do? Change location? No. I want to still do whatever I'm doing. Okay. You know what? I'm Oh, wait a minute. It's good. It's all good. Okay. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous. Does it because I'm this is the second episode that I'm recording using Zoom. The first one seems to have gone well. And now I'm because it's all kind of new to me. I'm just like, settings. That's what I want to check it out. Settings, display control, video effect, display and controls, recording, display controls. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Hide your own video from no. Okay. I'm okay. I think it's still exactly the way it was before. All right, so we'll go with that. All right, episode number 18, everyone. How's it going? I'm all over the place. And then of course there's people on TikTok here. Welcome people on TikTok. Like you were very far away just now. Um let's get right into it. Right? This is how I've decided to start opening the show. No, I can't use that title because that's not even going to do that show anymore. All right. My show is about having the courage to transform my life when I almost lost everything. Perhaps an inspiration to some, a warning to others. This weekly true life experiment might help a codependent, be it alcohol, drugs, video games, food, or even sex. Oh, James. Struggling to survive. With friends like Batman, Trump, Vishnu, our savvy tech guy from Sri Lanka. Oh, thank you very much. We're sure to always keep it down to earth and fun. But when Trump, Christopher Walken, Batman, or Sean Conery show up on the podcast, oh, bets are off. That same imaginative drive that brought me to drinking for over 20 years is now part of my recovering process. So why not invite Potus, Batman, and James Bond? Oh, James, on my podcast. Join us as we laugh, smile, and ponder at life's mysteries, chuckle our failures, and rejoice at our aha moments, and wonder what's life's next big reveal. A crazy date, a past life romantic encounter, an illicit, illegal, sexually charged proposal. Who knows? So keep on listening. Thanks for watching and sharing and listening. Welcome to Serenity Wins, episode number 18. Let's get all that stuff out of the way. This show is not sponsored, affiliated, or officially associated with any nonprofit organizations such as Alcoholics Anonymous. That's right. This show is all about my brainchild inside of here and between my two eyes. Or is it behind my eyes and between my ears? Somewhere around there in my head, I got up this idea to say, hey, you know what? As a recovering alcoholic, why not share my journey? What journey is it? I don't know yet. But why not share that along? And maybe that'll help someone who's suffering, who's still in a process. Or maybe they've joined, but they're having a hard time. I know I met a few members. I said, hey, man, if you want, you can listen to my podcast. Maybe you get something out of it. Maybe you'll just spend an hour not thinking about drinking. And that could be a good thing too. So, hey, if you like this podcast, make sure you like and you share. We got all kinds of apps now. We're on Facebook, Serenity Wins. I believe the spelling now is correct. It's with a Z. We're on YouTube. Right now, we're recording this on Zoom, oddly enough. You do what you can. And of course, we're also live here with the people on TikTok. And we're in the process of getting a Twitch account. I mean, I got the account. I just don't know how that works yet. So all this to say that there's plenty of places to go and get it. And there's plenty of places for you to go and share it. Now, while we are not sponsored by AA, we are now officially sponsored by cruiseaway.ca, where you can go and get some really cool furniture, some decorating ideas for the living room, the bathroom, your bedroom, hey, even a garage. You never know. The garden. There's stuff for everyone in there. And all you got to do is put in the promo code SWD10 when you shop online after you pick up your box, the cart, whatever. It's going to ask you for a promo code. Punch in SWD10 as in Serenity Wins Discount 10 for a 10% discount on your online shopping for Canadian shoppers only. That's right. It's only for Canadians because, us and the Americans right now, there's kind of like this tariffs and all this stuff going on. So anyways, now I'm going to go into our first topic. That was supposed to be on last episode, but clearly I was just running my mouth about signs and this and that. And I spent like almost an hour talking about one subject. So I'm going to talk about subject number 2. That's actually subject number 1 on this episode. And that is, and this is why I actually wanted to make sure that I spoke about it on this episode and not just kind of finish it off. Because it's a very, very poignant subject, especially for the recovering alcoholic journey. And that's about falling off the wagon. What's the expression? It happens, shit happens. And I think today in particular, it's a good day to have that. A few weeks ago, a young member came in and he was joining our movement. He was in our meetings fairly regularly. Like I'd see him like 2-3 times a week. And then at one point, we didn't see him at all. And then at one point, I got a text from him saying, hey, man, I'm in real trouble. And so the night before, he'd gone off drinking and he got busted by the police in a very stupid way. Like he wasn't even, technically speaking, he wasn't even driving. He was just asleep in his car. And they knocked on the window and they said, get out of the car, sir. And I guess they gave him the breathalyzer test. And so his permit was suspended and he lost his job, like a really bad country song. I suspend my permit and I lost my job. And he's got a child on the way, like I think within the next month or so. So he was extremely like defeated, lost. But, the next day I said, well, you need to go to a meeting. And he's like, I can't even get to a meeting. I said, okay, man, well, just, I'm going to pray for you and whatnot. So today, as I'm doing the 12th step, which is when you, l'accueil du nouveau, which I had said earlier on, from now on, I was calling the welcoming committee, the 12-step welcoming committee. I'm the committed. Oh, thanks for the follow. The 12th step where you welcome the new person. Anyways, so as I'm talking today, I had this whole speech plan where I was going to talk in English, and obviously there's a bunch of francophones in there, and I didn't even have to talk. Like all I did is as I walk over to the microphone, because it's a huge hall, there's like 200 people or something. As I'm walking over the mic, I'm just, in my mind, I'm like, okay, JD, God, just give me the right words to say when I get to that microphone, that I reach someone. And I just stood there. I just stared at the beauty. Because when you're looking in the room, in the hall, and these are people who have decided that they've chosen life. They have chosen life. We all had a dark cloud in our life. We all had a place where it was fucking dark. And yet we all decided that we wanted to live. And not just live, we wanted to live in the present moment because that's what we do every day. We're not thinking about the next 4 weeks from now. We're just thinking about today. Today, I'm not going to drink. Today, I'm going to have a good day. Today, I'm going to do something that I love. So when you're at the microphone standing and you're facing these 200 faces and you see the sparkle in their eyes, I cannot describe it. You have to be there. But whenever you meet, and I'm sure if you happen to meet an alcoholic who's in recovery, you're going to see that sparkle in their eyes because that's what it is. It's a sparkle in our eyes. So I'm just watching this sea of love, right? Because it's just full of love. Because we've all chosen love. We've all decided that rather than going down that dark path, if you want to call it the devil's way or the devil's path, we chose to stand up, rise, pick ourselves up, and do what needs to be done. And I was simply looking at and admiring, and then a person just got up and they just walked over. And I was like, wow, I barely said anything. So they took their envelope, their welcome package, and then they sat back down and said, okay, now I'm actually going to get to do that. And I said, so I'm here to help out. I'm here. Je suis ici pour accueillir celui ou celle qui souffre. I'm here to receive the person, the she or the he that's suffering. And I don't mean she or the he as in the fucking pronouns and all that. No, it's like in French, it's like celui ou celle. In English, I'm just here to receive the person that's suffering. And again, another person got up and walked over. And like, it was insane. Like people were saying, we've never seen that before. I'm like, I've never seen that before. But the love that I felt every time a person would get up and walk up and say, hi, I'm an alcoholic. And then I saw the young pup, as I can call him that, the little puppy, the young pup who lost his permit. And I was so happy to see him. And you could see his joy of being there and yet his sadness of his situation. But it was sincere. And that's when he actually explained to us in detail kind of how he got. He said it was something really stupid. He said I wasn't even driving. I was just parked like about a block away. And when he said that, I was like, I think that's the universe. I think deep down there's probably a part of him that wanted to get caught. Because once he got caught, once his permit has been suspended, you get around less. And it's challenging, don't get me wrong. I know because I was there. Oh yeah. I got away with it in the sense that to this day you're going to hear me say it was an illegal seizure, which, if I was full of resentment as I was in the past, I'd be like, "Hey, they did that." But yeah, they towed my truck and so the truck was in the impound for like a month. And of course that's not free, so that's like quite a few dollars right there. And then they suspend your permit for 3 months until you can prove to them that whatever, you're not like a danger to society, which I did. And it was in the middle of winter when I was in that situation. So I literally had to do community work to pay off tickets. I don't even know if it was associated with those tickets or other, or I mean, was it I don't, I had to pay off something. So I had to do community hours, community work. And so I would get on my bicycle in the middle of winter and I would pedal like probably about 3 kilometers. I don't know if it was anyways, it was like 15 minutes away by bike. And I remember thinking, man, this is really not my highlight of my life right now, and I definitely want to change something about that. And that definitely brought me to drinking much less at that point because obviously I couldn't get around, but I still hadn't joined the movement at that time. I'm pretty sure at that time I wasn't. I hadn't joined the AA. I think it was the year after that I joined AA. Um, so yeah, falling off the wagon It happens. And I think the most important thing, if you're listening to the show, if you're a recovering alcoholic and you fell off the wagon, if you're listening to me while if you're drunk while you're listening to the show, it's all right. It's all good. This is what the show is all about. We're just here to accept people how they are. You don't need to like feel shame. You don't need to feel like you let anyone down. Just go with it, accept it, and then do the things that need to be done. So if you need to go to a meeting tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning or even tonight, depending on when you're listening to this, then go and do that. And if you don't have a car because you can't drive, then call a member. There's always someone out there who's got a car who can help you out somehow. So I was really happy to see him today because I know that he's getting back on track. And he also said that today was his 15th day without drinking. So yeah, so about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And there's still another member that I think I mentioned a few episodes ago that I kind of bumped into about a week after I had that crazy date. Remember the barmaid? She says, "Oh no, he likes the point zero beer." I haven't seen him yet. I don't know where he is, what he's at. I know that when he was coming to the meetings, he was there like regularly. So I can only hope that maybe he's doing meetings in another, there's like meetings everywhere. Or maybe he's still, off the wagon. But it is a reality. And I'm going to be, what are you going to say? You're going to be honest. That's it. You're going to be honest. Now you're going to lie to us. Is that it? You every time you say you're going to be honest, we know it's because you're about to say something and you're going to lie. No, you're too much. You're too much in the goombas. It's not what I meant. I'm going to be vulnerable. Oh, hey, oh, don't get no pussy footy on us now. I just said you're going to lie, but don't get no too sensitive on us. No, it's not sensitive. It's just vulnerable. I haven't had the urge to go and drink. The thirst is removed from me. There's part of me that wonders. It's like the curiosity. Do I need to fall off the wagon in order to understand the next member a little bit better? And it's not something that I want to do while the thought has been around in and out. And I mean, for me, it wouldn't even take like, it's not like I'd go on a drinking binge and, I come back, even 2 weeks or even a day later. It wouldn't even be that. For me, it would just be one drink just to say that I had a drink. And basically that would just scrap all my 2 years of sobriety. Then I go back, the counter goes back. It's going to be there, going to get the 2 years and then, and then back to zero. And then but, and then every now and then I hear people who do the conference who are sitting at the conference table and they share that they latched on, they joined the program so many years ago and they just flew with it. And I'm thinking, you know what, maybe that's good too. Maybe there's also some learning to be done from someone who latched on and stayed with the program, and but it was that idea that if I can relate more to the person suffering, then I'll be able to give them better help. And then the next question that follows is it my purpose? Is it my role to have all the answers for someone else? So I don't know what it's like to have gone back and forth and gone back and forth. Does that change the quality of what I feel and what I live? No. And I'm glad I'm talking about this now because it was actually something I was a little perplexed about it. Well, perplexed. You mean like when you go and you lift the muscle and you lift the weight and you got the flex? No, no, perplexed. Oh, yeah, yeah, I know. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Uh, a very famous psychoanalysis. Sorry, Carl Jung. Let's call him that. Carl Jung. He had a philosophy which was different from Freud, and his philosophy was: in order for you to become a better therapist, you need to be sick yourself because then you can understand your patients, your patient, your patients. I guess if you have several patients, but your patient. And so I'm wondering if there's some of that echoing inside my mind when I'm thinking about it. The thing, however, that stops me from even vaguely considering the idea seriously is that it's the same reason. It wouldn't take a drunken night, a binge. It wouldn't even just the first glass, the first beer, the first bottle, the first drop of alcohol in my body would make me feel like everything that I've gained in the last 2 years, everything, all my self-esteem, my my sense of worth, my my well-being, my equilibrium, one glass would just destroy that all. Now, destruction is a strong word. It would certainly pull back the timeline, and that would make me feel bad. Would I get up from it eventually? Absolutely, because I'm a resilient person. But it would certainly throw me back quite a few months. And I think I can even without doing it, I could feel the shame that I would feel because they often talk about that. There's the shame, not the shame towards others, it's the shame towards ourselves because we were so in the process of 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 purifying our soul. It's that one glass that just dirties it up all over again. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say these things right now on this channel just because I'm literally saying it out loud live. And maybe some of you are listening and you're going, what an asshole. He's such an asshole for saying these things. I don't think I'm an asshole. I think I'm being blunt. I think I'm being straightforward. That although it's taken me, 2 years and some to get to where I am today, it would only take 30 seconds. 30 seconds is all it would take for me to just perhaps not go all the way back down to where I was 2 years ago, but whatever, 10 seconds. It's just having the alcohol in the body would be enough for me to go, whoa, I don't want this. And and then I think, but would that make me a better would that make me a better student because I understand more and therefore down the road, right? Because we do talk about the 12 step where we share our experience with others. Would my experience with others be improved? And I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I don't even think it's worth it. I mean, if I've been blessed, and I mean, they talk about that too. Some people say, look, I did the program, and then I walked away, and then it took me a long time to get back into it. But when I got back into it, they explain the thirst was still there. So it was even harder. So I was blessed. I don't like to use the word blessed, but I felt the miracle of God. Again, some people who knew me 10 years ago were like, what are you talking about? I felt the miracle of God. All right. Without being the preacher, 2 years ago, God removed the thirst from me. Like he not only did he remove the thirst from me, he just removed the even the idea of putting alcohol poison in my body. So would I be lucky a second time that he would do the same thing? I don't know. I don't think God is a very, a lot of people say that God is calculating in terms of, he looks at the pros and the cons and how many times have you done. No, he's just it's just a great being. In English we call him our higher self, right? Bill and Bob, when you look in their original books in English, for instance, they talk about the higher self. They don't talk about, in French we call it la puissance supérieure, so our superior power. In English, they say our higher self. Higher as in higher, but it's our self. There's the word self. And I think even if it doesn't calculate, there's still something about, you know, if we take something for granted, then we might be surprised of how quickly we can lose it. And falling off the wagon is certainly one of those. And it was also very powerful day also because as I was, welcoming back, we'll call him Mr. Pup, the pup. As we were welcoming back the pup, there was another member because after you welcome all the new ones, then you say, okay, did anyone have 30 days? And so one guy got up. He's a funny guy, good guy. And he said, yeah, I got my 30 days. So we're like, bring it on, man. Come on. So, um, and he's been mentioning every now and then that he's struggling. He's struggling, and now it's getting easier for him. But some people are saying 30 days, that's not a big deal. Well, for an alcoholic, 30 days is a huge deal. It's 30 miracles, one day after another. That's what it is. Because it started off with one day, then you have 30 days. Next thing you know, you have 3 months. Next thing you know, you have 6 months. And then you just build, you know? And I guess eventually, like in my case, I don't count necessarily. I really don't. I just go about my day. But I do understand why it's important to go and get your chip. It's rarely about you. I mean, that might be a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor? Misstatement. There is a part that it's about us, but it's also about having the young pup in the audience seeing that it's possible for someone. And depending on what that person says when they receive it, if they're able to convey the message, hey, man, I was just as fucked up as you were. I came and it took me 10 times before it stuck, or 30 times, whatever. It took me 10 years before it stuck. But now I'm here. And now I'm taking my 10th year chip or my 2-year chip or whatever it is. And that's why we go in front and we do it. It's to show by example, to say, hey, if I can get my chip, anyone can. Hey, welcome, Jonathan. Jonathan Bag. I've not been looking at my people on TikTok for I think about maybe half an hour. I'm really this because to me the subject is very, very important. And I also noticed that you didn't. You didn't. There's not. What do you mean you don't want to have me in the round? Well, because this is definitely a serious matter. Yeah, I know. Sometimes you gotta put a little laugh, humor. So ha ha, wow, kind of moments. Yeah, you're right, Christopher. I got that. I just think that it's possible. Who's talking now? Batman or or Sean Connery? Well, yeah. I kind of lost that one. I really haven't practiced. I definitely I have to make a note. The next show, at least the day of the recording, to really practice my, the dialects. Because obviously, when I get to the microphone and I haven't practiced, um, maybe it's also the subject. Maybe the subject matter is also something that, yeah, yeah, falling off the wagon. It's funny because I remember a few years ago when I was living with, remember my adopted family, as I call them, from Mauritius. And one of their cousins was on the wagon, and he had fallen off the wagon. And at the time, obviously, I was not at all a member of AA, and I didn't understand everything behind it and about it. But now that I do understand, I'm wondering what brings a person to fall off the wagon? Like, what I mean, obviously, there's some sad events in a person's life. Like, I know that there's a few people that share how they lost someone dear to them, and that drove them to bottle. And I also hear stories about how people lost someone dear to them, but they still refuse the bottle. They're like, you know what? My life is just going to get worse if I go back to the bottle. So, as harsh as it is right now, living with these emotions, these feelings that are literally ripping my guts apart, I much prefer that feeling, they say, than running over and perhaps temporarily forgetting about their emotions. But when they get back those emotions, they're going to feel like, you know, I don't know. Maybe I didn't prepare well enough for this topic, but I do believe it's an important topic. So I guess this is if we had callers in, we could have people, hi, I just want to say that I've been sober now and I almost fell off the wagon, but but we don't have that. We don't have that capability yet. Yet. I'm looking forward to having all those things. And and I'm always surprised at myself at how much empathy I feel for those who are suffering. It's something that I'm learning to keep in check. To like, okay, well, there's kind of healthy empathy, and then there's like, whoa, this is not healthy. And but there's that moment, like when they walk over to the microphone for the first time, I feel the love, not only the love that they have for themselves, but also the love that they have for all individuals. And just I happen to be there receiving them and giving them their chip and their envelope. So I get a big part of that. And it's very rewarding because to me, that's part of giving back. Because for what I've become, what I'm becoming in a short amount of 2 years, that's because of the movement. It's because of the fellowship. It's because of AA. Hands down, I could not sit here, talk about this podcast, Serenity Wins, and say that I did it all on my own. Oh, I just applied the techniques that I read the book and then I figured it out and then I applied it. No big deal. I'm just good like that. No way, man. That's a load of crap. I'll tell you what's a load of crap. I went, well, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. Today I went to what they call, because there's Alcoholics Anonymous, and then you have all these different fraternities. And so I went to one that was called uh, des dépendants affectifs, right? DAA, Dépendant Affectif Anonyme. Yeah. So, it's all about codependency and all that. Because one of the members that I had received last week, I saw him today, and so we're talking. He said, "Oh yeah, well, there's another meeting I'm going to go to." I'm like, "Really?" And so I said, and then I was curious because obviously, I mentioned that I've been single now for about 7 months, and obviously the company of a lady is missing. Although I'm having this kind of tete-a-tete with this one person, and but it's too soon to say what's coming out about it, and we haven't really gone. We like each other. I think it's fair to say that we really like each other. Where we're going with this, I don't know. So there's that exchange. But on a full body scale, there hasn't been that much. There hasn't been any. If my ex is listening, be ah. Yeah. Well, no, there hasn't been any. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, is this because I'm starting to become like codependent? I start to need someone there to fulfill me, or so I was curious. So I went to the meeting today, and it was interesting. That's There's a few things that they did that I felt like, all right, they pretty much lost me. And because I go to one meeting regularly, and we're probably the same amount of people, but instead of being in little circles, we're really just all there, and one person speaks, and we all listen to them. And then another person decides to speak, and then we all listen to them. And it's not like we all go all the time. No, maybe there's maybe going to be like five or six, maybe seven, sometimes eight people, maybe 10. But it's not about everyone getting a chance to speak. It's about when you need to speak, you speak. And in that group, I spoke quite a bit. I've discovered many things, I've shared. I'm very attached to that group. And that group listens. This one that I went to today, where they had like like five individual circles, right? Like five or six people, and it it just felt like, okay, this is so I didn't relate to it at all. Like I don't going back there is, I mean, I might end up accompanying someone to go there at one point, or but me going back there, no, no. And also, it also felt like there was like a copycat effect. They're really just doing the 12 steps, right? But instead of calling it the 12 steps, they call it something else. And then, but it's still the 12 steps, right? Alcohol is not about the alcohol. The person who drinks, who takes drugs, who plays video games, who eats, oh, James, has too much sex. They're not, it's not about what they're doing. It's about why they're doing it. It's the wanting to escape the pain that they're in. DDA or DAA or whatever you call it, the codependency of anonymous, whatever, it's the same thing. Codependent. So it's CDA. All right, CDA. Oh, CDA. So it's the same thing. So, but they decided to create maybe in CDA, people who don't have alcohol issues are also welcome, and they also go there. I don't know. I honestly, I went there today for the first time, and you know, I was polite. At one point they're like, "Oh, but that circle, that's for the new people if you want to go there." And I looked at them and I said, "I have no intention of going there." I said, "But don't you have any questions?" I said, "No, you guys are clearly using the 12 steps. I've been doing this now for, not pretentious, like I know everything, just saying all the questions are already answered. I know I'm living every day the program." And they looked all surprised, like, "Oh, okay." And then, of course, they had the conversation of resentment. And then they're all sharing about how they resentment. And I'm like, again, I catch myself when I do feel resentment. And for me, resentment, like any form of anger, right? Anyone who's angry, when you have the people who are always fucking on tabarnak, they just want to fucking punch everything. They're hiding sadness. That's what they're hiding. Because it's easier. It hurts less to show anger and be angry all the time than to actually allow the sadness to pierce through. And again, I was listening to them and I'm like, okay, well, I've I've let go of all that anger, and resentment is just a little sign that you still have some anger, so therefore you still have some sadness. I'm not saying I'm perfect, because obviously in the other episode when I mentioned to you that I prayed for the first time and I was really sad, it happens. But I catch myself and I say, okay, I acknowledge it and then I move on. So yeah, CDA, it definitely is not for me. I don't, yeah, not. I did it. I guess I'm happy I did it. I can't even say I learned something new, but I did it. And so the person that had received the chip last week, they told me about it and went. And then the other one who the pup who took his, his envelope today because he was first time in the meeting in 15 days. And then there was the other one who had 30 days of miracle, you know. And these are all situations where they all fell off the wagon at one point. One of them was when he first started off. Another one was like after years of not being on it, he fell off. And the other one, I don't even exactly remember what it was, but it's a reality. And I think that if we're able to see the signs, right? We talked about some of the signs in the earlier, not earlier, but in the episode before this one. There are signs. They call it the dry drunkenness, where you in French it's l'ivresse mentale, where you're actually like you're drunk, but you're not drunk. And or as Lewis would say, right? Because I'm also allowed to say his name because he said, "Yeah, yeah, man, don't worry about it." Is he's such a good person, good man, very wise. But as he says, when you go into your head, don't go there alone, right? Because when you go into your head, you can start spitting all kinds of thoughts and going, oh, this and that, and oh yeah, and stay in the heart, as he says. Reste dans le cœur. Reste dans le cœur. Va pas en haut tout seul, as he'd say. Va pas en haut tout seul. Va pas dans ta tête. Va pas dans ta tête. Reste dans le cœur. And it's true. Because I find myself every now and then kind of going a little into my head. I'm going, no, let's go back down here. And I guess those who fall off the wagon, they weren't able to go back down into their hearts. They just spinned into their head. And at one point, they kind of made themselves believe. Today, that one of the guys was sharing how our conference talker today was saying how he had been in the program for quite a few years. And then he was very sad because his sister was about to die. And one afternoon, she said, here, have a mimosa. Mimosa, right? You're thinking orange juice and champagne. That's not a big deal. Let's say. She said, have a mimosa because next year I won't be there to have one with you. And I guess he listened to the arguments in his head and he said, yeah, I can. And then that just flew him off the rails completely. And I think he said it took him about 2 years to get back to it. And even if it only took him 6 months or 3 months or even 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. It's the concept that we begin telling ourselves these stories and like when we're in our heads, and then at one point we start to believe it and we're like, oh yeah, until we fall into that trap. So, let go, let God, as Lewis would say, it's true, like stay in your heart. So I'm thanking every day that I'm, don't touch alcohol because that's my prerogative. It's my reason of being. To me, alcohol is poison. And I know that we live in a society where it's actually glamorized. Like if you watch Yellowstone, which was a great series, don't get me wrong. But each time at the end of the evening, in that huge house, in that huge log house, there you had Kevin Costner and his daughter, or that other guy there, the cowboy looking guy with a scotch or, like a scotch or a glass of wine or, And if you start counting the number of times that people are holding glasses in shows, it really went up. Like 20 years ago, you'd have someone holding a drink once in a while, unless you're watching like an old episode like Cheers or something, which was taking place in a bar. But now it seems that every TV series, there's always a scene where someone's holding a glass and they're always drinking. They're always drinking it to relax. What a load of BS. It upsets me. And then you watch the commercials. You ever see commercials? They never show real people. They show models that are paid to look like that. And that's probably after their first class, because models, even after their fifth class, look nothing like we see them on TV. So, yeah, this is the kind of world we live in where, this concept of drinking is cool and drinking is the thing to do. Yeah, it's really kind of sad if you think about it. I mean, that's just my point of view. And I'm not an expert or anything like that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Maybe we should cut down, slow down, avoid, eliminate alcohol. Maybe there's a world where that happens, but I'm not fully aware of it right now. Wow. Again, 47 minutes on one subject. Does that make me like, yo, man, you're like the one subject podcaster? Yeah. And I think also in this episode, you probably heard a lot of me talking and not that much Trump and not that much Vishnu and not Batman. And, I really want to make the show to be fun and entertaining for everyone, but there are conversations. I mean, it's not like cunnilingus. It's not like cunnilingus. I can't mock something that's so serious, such as uh, falling off the wagon. Someone who decides that they're going to go and get a drink for whatever reason when they shouldn't, right? As the expression goes, one is too many, and 15 is not enough, right? Un c'est trop. One is too many. Like, even if you just want to have one drink, like the person, like, oh, she's like, I want to learn how to drink. I'm like, you can't learn how to drink. First of all, as soon as you put alcohol in your body, oh, you become stupid. I hate to say it, girl, but you do become stupid. And even if you just put one glass of beer in your body or two glass, you become stupid. And you see the glazing that takes over. I went out last night and we had a really good time dancing. It was country music. I'm gonna be the country man, gonna be the country man, party, get a party, get. I'm gonna be the party, party, what is it? I'm gonna be the party, think about the party. But towards the end of the evening, I could definitely see there was a glazing that took place in her eyes, and I was like, okay, that woman is no longer who I think she is. But tu sais, je l'ai accueillie. I received her as she is. You know. Um, but yeah, the concept of learning how to drink, no, because what's going to happen is you don't learn how to drink. You learn how to live with yourself. You learn how to fix all the boo boos. You learn how to feel good about yourself. You learn how to let go of all those shards and glasses and nails that were jammed into your heart. And you learn to rebuild that heart and feel it pumping the blood and feeling the love. And once you get that, the idea of having to drink to forget something, it's gone. You don't need it. I don't need to forget anything. Does my day always go as I want it? Not always. I am full of gratitude. There's a lot of good things. But you learn to live. Someone said it last week in one of the meetings. They said spirituality is about when, because you can't control the outside world, right? We can control what's inside of us. When you have a strong spirituality, the outside world affects you less. And I remember when I heard that, I was like, yeah. And I think it was actually Lewis who mentioned that. And it's true. The more spirituality that flows through me, that kind of breathes with me, the more when stuff happens, I kind of go along with it. I'm like, okay. And I always want to make sure that the universe and God understands that I'm not at all in a position of wanting to test that theory. It happens, it happens. I'm not testing it. I don't want Oh yeah, well this is what's. I'll give you a short example. Last week, um, I think another reason why I didn't do the podcast was because I spent my Saturday afternoon changing my truck battery. I had gone to the gas station, filled it up with gas, and then when I came back from the cashier, some funny sounds. It didn't start. And it was about 15 minutes before the meeting was starting. So I called Lewis and said, "Hey man, can you come and pick me up? I'm at the gas station just around the corner." So he comes over, and says, "Okay, what do you?" And he has experience in cars because he used to like take care of stuff like that. He says, "What are you going to do?" And I looked at him and I said, "You know what? At first, I'm just going to go to the meeting and then we'll see what happens. But right now, I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, but am I going to let that affect me? No." Long story short, end up going to the meeting, meet another member. He happens to also be a mechanic, not a mechanic like a working mechanic in the garage, but more like he actually studied to be a mechanic, but now he's like doing other stuff. So he said, "Yeah, yeah, I got." Comes over, check it out. Oh, he's the battery. And it's like, "Oh, I got battery cables and by my house." And then we drive over to his place, pick up the booster cable. And he tells me, he goes, "You got to get to change the battery." I'm like, "Oh, how am I gonna?" So then he takes off and he says, "Oh, by the way, you can hold on to the power pack because you never know if anything happens." So I'm driving into town, into a little other town, pick up a car battery. Then I bring the car battery back to my place. I've never changed a car battery. I did change it for once for the X, but it was a Volvo. This is like Silverado. It's like, ugh. But I got all my tools. I'm really happy. I'm proud. I'm feeling good. I got the ratchet. What's a ratchet sound doing? No, it's not. That sounds like it sounds like pepper. A ratchet's like, that's not right. How does a ratchet sound? It's like, anyways, no, or it's like just, yeah, because clearly the first one doesn't make, or like, all right. All right. What the hell's the matter with you, boy? You're starting down to make ratchet sound and click, 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 click. What is it? Rice Krispies? I don't know. Long story short, I ended up changing the battery by myself. And I remember at one point I changed the battery, but I said, "You know what? I'm not going to tighten all the bolts. I'm just going to like leave it loose, then do like a little test." And then I went behind the wheel and nothing happened. And again, I stayed calm. I'm like, "You know what? It's probably because he had to explain it to me. He says when things are loose, you have amps and the electricity, and so it doesn't circulate as well." So I said, "You know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to tighten everything. I'm sure it's going to start properly then." And that's exactly what I did. I went, I tightened everything. Not a, oh, anyways, forget the sound. I tightened everything. I got back into the driver's seat, and that was it. And that was like outside my comfort zone. But more importantly, it was the spirituality saying, "You know what, we're gonna do it." So about 2 hours after the stalling, I had a brand new battery and I took care of business. And then I went about my day as if nothing happened. And that to me was that spirituality that was flowing through me. Because if I wouldn't have had that spirituality, probably I would have started off with really bad thoughts like, "Oh, how much fucking is this going to cost me?" And then this and then that. And then maybe I would have gone to the meeting, but then I wouldn't have felt good. And then I wouldn't have attracted the right thought and the right person. And then I'd be back to the truck waiting and. But I do believe that, God, JD was watching over me and that my spirituality was like, "Okay, how much are you going to let this affect you?" Once more, it's important to say it's far from being wanting to test the universe. There's a respect, full of gratitude. And yeah, so if you happen to fall off the wagon, call first. Um, it happens. And I'm the first one to say, I wouldn't even know what to tell you, but I'll be there for you, you know, just listening, even, if you want to write to me, if you know someone who's suffering, Share this podcast because you never know. 56 minutes. My goodness, we are having such a great time. So let me just take a little moment here just to say that if you want some really great, cool furniture or some decorating home ideas, go to Crusoe. That's CRUSOE.ca. Go to cruiserway.ca. You're going to see they got all kinds of funky furniture. They got some really nice teak wood. It's Indonesian teak wood. Like, it's like, whoa, exotic stuff. And they're really like, I don't want to say that they're, because they're starting off in the market. They've only been around for maybe 3 or 4 years. So right now, you can get stuff that's really compared to other places. And it's not about the quality. They have the quality. They probably have even better quality. It's just that they want to, they want to get known. So you put in the code SWD10, as in Serenity Wins Discount 10. When you do the shopping cart thing, there's going to be like a question where it says promo code. You put in that code and you're going to get 10% discount on your shopping. This is available only for Canadian shoppers. So, we're working with the Americans. We're doing everything we can, but it's a big boo-boo. The boo-boo is a boo-boo, the boo-boo. And of course, now that the show is about to end, I want to finish off with the Serenity Prayer one last time. Dear God, give me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change those that I can, and the wisdom to understand the difference between both. And finally, this podcast. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to talk about one of the 12-step program. And today I've chosen number 4. So in the 12-step program, number 4 is we're making a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. I talked a little about that earlier on, but it's so important to figure out what's inside of us, what makes it tick, and also what affected us. So that's number 4, really deep stuff. And finally, let me finish off with saying this podcast is not sponsored, associated, or affiliated with any official nonprofit organization such as Alcoholics Anonymous. So do it well for the self. Do it with respect. Do it with respect. Well, you're getting blank there, boy. No, I'm just saying. Okay, do it well for the self. Do it with respect for the all. Do it with the intention of humanity's love. Like, share, subscribe, leave your comments. I'm sure I'm going to figure out where they are eventually, and I'll respond. I love doing the show because, number one, it's my way of giving back. Number two, if this can help someone, if you know someone who's struggling, who's suffering, if you're also a member and you're like, you have those days where you don't feel too good, listen to the podcast and then share it with other alcoholics because, this can make a difference. And I have a great time doing it. I really do. So on that note, folks, I want to wish you all a good week, and I will see you on our next episode. Thanks for watching.